The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas. Hope everybody's doing well out there this morning. Just a scary, uncomfortable situation in Fayetteville on Monday with the lockdowns on campus, the concerns about, an active shooter, scary stuff. Apologies to those who tuned in to Inside Arkansas Live yesterday to see that we wound up ending the show a good half hour early. We tried to kind of address what's going on a few times throughout the show, basically just saying that we didn't have enough real information and in real time in the moment as we were live there we didn't want to come across as that we were reporting on it. Because when things like this are going on, there's a lot of unverified information, a lot of speculation, things that get running like wildfire, and it's not always rooted in truth. And so if we don't have concrete facts, especially on something like that, we don't want to be spreading misinformation, they're in a live forum there. So weren't super comfortable going too deep into that. Some serious stuff, it's one of those things too, where when things are happening and you're in the moment right there in the thick of it, I mean, the only thing that you can do is take every precaution and be extra safe, and kudos to, the U of A and everybody it sounds like they handled that really well in terms of keeping everybody safe. But there's no doubt whether it amounts to something or not, that's terrifying. I couldn't imagine being in a situation like that, or somebody that I cared about being in a situation like that. Heck, I know folks who were, under lockdown there on campus, some colleagues in the media who had been out at Sam Pittman's press conference. One of our interns was there on campus when all the craziness got started. Heck, one of our interns who helps us behind the scenes producing during the shows as we were live was less than a mile away from campus and getting all the alerts with everything that was going on in the moment there. So scary stuff. And honestly, as things continued to unfold, we just decided maybe it was best to cut the show a little bit short, because some things are a little more important than Arkansas football. And obviously the chat was preoccupied with what was going on, and it was getting a little out of control with the amount of, information and everything that was coming through there. So we'll get back to the Arkansas football talk today on the show, but I just wanted to address it here real quick this morning on the Pod at the Palace, because I think this is going to be our first content that goes out since Inside Arkansas Live yesterday. So stay safe out there in this world. It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen. And, there are all these things in life that you think, this would never happen to me until it does. And you find yourself in those situations. And I know that hit close to home for a lot of folks yesterday. So I do hope everybody's doing well today on this Tuesday. And yeah, we're just a few days out from the start of the Arkansas Razorback football season, but we're also just 27 days away from the start of official practices for Arkansas basketball. It's the kind of stuff that gets me out of bed in the morning. We're 63 days away from the Memphis exhibition in FedEx Forum. We're 69 days away from the season opener against Southern at Bud Walton Arena. So it's not too far off, folks. It will be here before you know it. And in the meantime, we're going to continue talking about it until the ball gets tipped and we got a season to really break down. It's getting here closer and closer. A fun but quick show planned for you here today. We got some recruiting to talk about with a big visit added to the schedule for this weekend for the Razorbacks. And it's Hot Take Tuesday as well. Hey, today's episode of the Pod at the Palace is presented by Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. I just think there's no better way to kind of put a bow on the summer than having a Labor Day weekend out on the lake. I wish I could do it. We got to work. We're slaving away over here for the John Neighbors machine. But no, we've got a football weekend and everything like that. But if I could, I'd be out there on the lake. And some of you would love to do that, but you don't have a boat. But that's cool. You don't need to. That's where Freedom Boat Club comes in handy. They give you the access to the boats without the commitment, without the hassle. They take care of that so you can just enjoy the moment. And they've got 3 locations in Arkansas, so lake time is closer than you think. In fact, they're getting ready to add more locations here in the not too distant future. For now, whether you prefer Greer's Ferry Lake or Lake Hamilton or just a day out on the river in Little Rock, Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas will help you make your summer in the natural state the best one yet. Just text the words Inside Arkansas to 501-270-6477 to get 50% off your initiation free. And you can also check out their website at freedomboatclubar.com for more info. All right. So here's how I want to start this. I'm going to pull up this graphic from one of the shows last week. And if you guys remember when we did our recruiting reset, we broke down all of Arkansas's targets into different categories. There you have it. You'll see the third category down was, so you're saying there's a chance. And we got 3 names there: Tyron Stokes, Brandon McCoy, and Caleb Holt. All 5 stars, all ultra talented players, all top 10 guys, all in the running to be McDonald's All-Americans, all projected lottery picks. It's all there. And also, if we're talking about things they have in common, all guys that Arkansas has been recruiting for quite some time. But also all guys that Arkansas has felt kind of on the periphery with, or have just been very close to the vest with their recruitments. And the caveat for all 3 of these guys was, well, let's see Arkansas get them on campus for a visit. And then we can reevaluate the pecking order and their chances a little bit. Then it feels a little bit more real. Then it feels a little bit more serious. Well, that's exactly what we're getting, as Joe Tipton reported on Monday that Caleb Holt has scheduled a visit to Arkansas this weekend, baby. Yep, this weekend. Ain't no messing around. No, oh yeah, it's going to happen in October. Oh, he's going to come for the Louisville game in December. No, this weekend. He ain't messing around. I love it. Going to be in town for the football game, the opener against Alabama A&M. He'll be able to sit in on workouts. Arkansas is not doing full practices yet, but they're still getting after it, so he'll be able to meet the team, see them, and everything like that. I think this is really good. I do. This is a golden opportunity for Arkansas to increase its standing with one of the top guards in the country. And that's exactly what Holt is. I mean, he's the number 6 overall prospect in the 2026 class, the top shooting guard in his class, a 5-star, average double figures scoring and nearly 3 steals per game, by the way, for Team USA in the FIBA World Cup over the summer. Now, this was the U19s, and he was competing as a 17-year-old. So pretty impressive to make that kind of impact. So he was a gold medalist there, and he won the Adidas 3SSB championship with Game Elite. So very talented and a winner. Check. Really good looking player. Check. 6'5", 200 pounds already. So great size. And think about that for a second. You've got JJ Andrews, who is, just an absolute hoss, college ready body already. And Caleb Holt is a guy that's similar in stature, good looking kid. And he's got a 6'9" measured wingspan. So plus there. Really impactful on both ends of the floor. And I think he thrives the most attacking, getting downhill, which makes plenty of sense given his measurables. I mean, when you're long, strong, and athletic the way he is, the closer you can get to the rim, the better, And he's an interesting case because he really kind of came up as a wing, but it seems like over the course of the last year, 18 months or so, he's started to really develop himself into more of a guard. Still stronger to his right hand, but he's got an improving handle, improving decision maker, better off the bounce game. Shot, it has some flaws. He's got a little shoulder dip issue sometimes. Not the most consistent in the world. I think he's about 29% or so from 3 this summer, but he shot 50% from 3 in the FIBA World Cup. It's coming along. There's promise there, and it's getting better. And that's what you look for in a prospect like this. What I will say is the better his shot selection, the better his percentage. He settles a little bit too often. A lot of guys do, on the grassroots circuit, it's whatever, but that shot's coming around. Excellent potential defensively. He's so strong and long that he does a really good job of keeping guys in front, but he's got great instincts. He gets a lot of deflections, gets in passing lanes, impactful on both ends of the floor. Let's talk about the competition here and where it feels like Arkansas stands in the moment. So we've known that Arkansas has been pursuing Caleb Holt for quite some time. I mean, it's been clear that they like him. They prioritized him throughout the summer. Anytime that the 3SSB was going on during a live period, there was Razorback staff out there to check on Caleb Holt. So they'd be fools not to like him. He's a really good player. And I say that knowing that this is a down class. He's one of the guys who I think would be highly sought after, regardless of what you put him in last year's class. And it'd be the same case. but he has run a fairly quiet recruitment for a player of his stature. So it's been a little bit unclear, where does Arkansas fall here in the pecking order? Now, I'll say off the top, I don't get the sense that Arkansas is in the lead with this one just because he's a visiting. But maybe they're in a better position than it felt like beforehand. Because I do believe that this visit's very notable, and I think it gives you an opportunity to really get yourself into the thick of it. So it's Monday. He visits this weekend. We do this show again next week, and we could be having an entirely different conversation about where this is headed. And honestly, it might be a little bit overblown, of like who's in the lead, who's in the lead. I used to get irritated when I was asked that question, because how fluid recruitment is and how quickly it can change. You remember when folks were convinced that Darius Acuff was going to Kansas and that Malik Thomas was going to UConn? Look at them now, both Razorbacks, right? So things can change in a hurry, and there's two ways to make them change. One is visits. Okay, you got that box check this weekend, and the other is money. And that's one thing I've been told, is that, NIL is something that's going to play a big factor here. So, hey, if Caleb Holt's your guy, get your money up. They've got it. You want him, let him know financially. Now, that's counterintuitive to how Cal operates. Usually, he usually steers clear of the bidding wars. He's not a big fan of that stuff, but a lot of that's also portal related. A lot of his issues with the current state of college basketball are transfer portal related. He's far more likely to up the bag for a projected freshman lottery pick than he is a transfer. Have you watched this man recruit over the last 3 decades? They call him PayPal Cal for a reason. Okay. And honestly, the alternative would be, to get to the end of the season and then hope that you can retain guys and go heavier on the portal. And more programs operate that way nowadays, but Arkansas ain't one of them on Coach Cal's watch. So what's the competition here for Caleb Holt? Well, the only other official visit that he's taken so far is Ole Miss. And I'm just telling you right now, I would be very, very surprised if he winds up playing for Chris Beard. Good on them for getting him in on a visit early, but I don't think that's in the cards. Now, it's the other 3 teams that he's scheduled to take trips to alongside Arkansas, who I believe are maybe running a little bit hotter than the Hogs at the moment. Again, this might be a different conversation a week from now. This is an Alabama kid with both Alabama and Auburn heavily in pursuit. I would probably put Bama a little bit ahead of Auburn in that pecking order at the moment, but he is visiting both. He did take an unofficial to Alabama earlier in the summer, and he's also visiting Kentucky, who is very much in the running to potentially land him as well. So this is it's an SEC battle for the most part. Kansas might get involved in there, some others, you never know. But right now, this feels like SEC on SEC crime to some degree. This also, to me, feels like a prime opportunity to shut some folks up who are questioning if John Calipari still has his recruiting trap. You know what I mean? Like, outside of wins, a great way to make a statement is to look at Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl and Mark Pope's infinite money tree and say, sorry, boys, your priority is going to be my prize, whether he's from your backyard or whether you're backing up the Brinks truck or not. And Cal's been one of the very few, very select handful of guys in the history of this game who's been capable of doing that on the recruiting trail. I would love to see him do it with the Razorbacks here. So we'll break down some film and everything ahead of Friday, but that's where we're at with Caleb Holt going into this visit here at the moment. Big development, get him on campus. Hogs are in the hunt, and let's get some feedback on this thing after the weekend and see where the Razorbacks stand. Could they slip in there and steal him? That's going to be the question we're asking this time a week from now. Speaking of in the hunt, have a small update on Abdou Toure. Really more of a validation to what we've been saying with him. So first of all, he's taking an official visit to Providence this weekend. And they are Arkansas's top competition at the moment. Close to home. That's appealing to him. I understand that. I would imagine that Providence is going to try and up their offer to Abdou this weekend and very plainly point out that Arkansas added another 6'5" guard to a visit this weekend instead of him. Why wouldn't they? Probably going to pitch that, hey, you are a priority for Providence. Are you just an option for Arkansas? Which, in fairness, to a degree, might be somewhat true. I know that John Calipari really likes Toure a lot, but if you have him and Caleb Holt in the same room, both wanting to commit, you take Holt. You just do, man. Like, it's a business. I'd love to have either one of them. I'd take both, but that's kind of where you're at, especially when you already have JJ Andrews in the fold. I don't see a world where you get both of these guys. So let's see what comes out of this weekend on both fronts and how quickly Arkansas does or doesn't get Toure on campus for a visit. Now, again, I'm told that visit's already scheduled, that it's just a matter of releasing the date. Does it stay that way? Because I still stand firm that if Arkansas decides that Abdou Toure is their guy and they incentivize him in a manner to show it, he'll be a hog. It's kind of where we're at. So today's podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. We're getting closer to the holiday season. Halloween's right around the corner. I've seen, places in my neighborhood decorated. I'm like, dang, am I behind? And then I think, well, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to go get the things I need to make it pop around my house. Well, the good thing is Walter Christmas Lighting can take care of that for you. I love it, man. If you're in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley, have Walter Christmas Lighting install and set up your house with Halloween and Christmas lighting like you've never seen before. They make it so easy on you. They provide all the materials, any color, any pattern that you might want. They install the lights. They give you free maintenance throughout the entire holiday season. And when all is said and done in January, they come take it all down for you. And if you sign up for Halloween lights with Walter Christmas Lighting, they will also give you your Christmas lights for 50% off. It's a good deal. Just text our guy Brett for a free estimate, 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com or like them on Facebook. It's, moving on here. This is Hot Take Tuesday, by the way, here on the show. And we're going to stick with the theme. There's been a lot of talk lately about John Calipari and whether or not he's still the best recruiter in college basketball. We had an episode on that recently after we saw some polls that went out there. And the Eye on College Basketball podcast, which we'll talk about in more detail tomorrow. It was going to be for today's show, but then we got the Holt visit, so push that back a day. But has Cal lost a step on the recruiting trail? We did a Hot Take Tuesday actually on Arkansas, I guess about a month ago, on the potential of getting the number one class. So what is it? We'll get a little bit specific today with where we're at here. As it stands right this moment, Arkansas has JJ Andrews on board, and they've got 5 visits over a 6-week span scheduled. You got Caleb Holt this weekend. Then you got a break. Then you got Erfan Gian, September 12th through 14th. You got Jordan Smith Jr. the next weekend, September 20th through 22nd. Tay Kenny, September 26th through 28th, and Cole Clower, October 3rd through 5th. And if you look at all 5 of these guys, one could argue that Arkansas doesn't necessarily lead for any of them. Bama for Holt, Houston for Erfan, Duke for Jordan Smith Jr., Louisville for Tay Kenny, UConn or NC State for Clower. But we just talked about how, being in the lead doesn't mean so much as finishing in the lead. And my Hot Take Tuesday here is that John Calipari and the Razorbacks end up closing on more than one of their fall visitors. A list that I expect to grow, by the way. In fact, I won't even include Abdou Toure in this, since he's already come to campus once, or Mika Murinan, since he's already come to campus once. Let's say they get one more visitor added to this. They get one of Baba Oladatun or Brandon McCoy scheduled. Baba probably being the most likely. So that group of 6, Baba, Holt, Erfan, Jordan Smith Jr., Kenny, Clower, Hot Take Tuesday, the Hogs get multiple. And again, it might be difficult to look at that list right now and feel great about the pathway. That's why it's a hot take. But is it? Is it though? Show me a time in his coaching tenure that John Calipari just struck out on the recruiting trail. You won't find it. It hasn't happened. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. This feels like prime flex time for Cal to me, to remind everybody who he is and what he's capable of. And, he likes to say nothing's changed but the address. And BBN hates that because like, oh, it's this Cal U. Well, we know that his roster building philosophy has changed since he arrived in Fayetteville, but there's still room to show the recruiting world that John Calipari gets who he wants, and the young guns can wait their turn a little bit longer. He ain't getting passed up just yet. So I don't know who it will be, but he's getting a couple of these guys to pair with JJ Andrews. It's just going to happen. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if he stuck to, 3 freshmen this year with this class, but I would love to see them go get a Chase Foster or something like that to develop if, say, Arafan winds up trending elsewhere, but he's going to get his studs. He is. Let's see who you return and what you got to get out of the portal. But if we really think that it's going to be JJ Andrews and nobody, or JJ Andrews and a bunch of reaches, just because they're not the clear front runner or leader for some of these top end guys right now, that's all perception, and perception doesn't always equal reality. And I trust the track record with John Calipari, the most feared recruiter in the history of the game. And I believe that he's still got it in him. It's interesting. I've also been told, maybe to keep an eye out on international prospects who are represented agent-wise by the same folks who rep Elmer and Paolo. So we may put together a list there, if we can find one, to see what that might look like as well. I mean, I guess that would count for freshman recruiting to a degree, but I'm sticking to these high school guys with how I feel about it. The other thing I will say, about the way that this sets up is I really, really like the way that Cal has spaced out his visits here. Because some staffs like to get all their guys, in at the same time, and they'll do the let's all play together thing, visit together, experience it together. This could be us. And maybe you do that in season. Maybe you bring multiple guys in for a big game or whatever. Or maybe it's a situation where you have JJ Andrews coming in to try to help you sweeten the deal with somebody else. Kind of like they did with Darius Acuff being in for the Native Mint visit for the Mississippi State game. But I like the idea of one priority per weekend on campus. Does it make a little bit more sense if you're trying to sell a guy on being him? I know it's something that Caleb Holt has talked about in interviews here in the, recently is, yeah, I'll play with other 5-stars, other big time players, everything. But he kind of wants to have the freedom to rock and to be viewed as the guy. Well, it starts with being the guy on your official visit. This is about rolling out the red carpet for you. It's about wining and dining you. It's about setting up the locker for you. It's about having your name, your hype video on the jumbo, screen at Bud Walton Arena when you walk in there for the first time on your visit. It's about getting you in the room with John Tyson. And, without knowing that, okay, 10 minutes after I leave, the next guy is going to be in here. And I think there's something to be said for John Calipari making you feel like the priority. And at the moment, that's the way this lines up here for Arkansas during visit season, it's why I do believe that they'll be able to move the needle a little bit more than maybe some people are thinking when it comes to making up ground or getting in the pole position for some of these guys who are going to be visiting over the next several weeks. So there you have it. All right. Going to get out of here for the day. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Make sure you subscribe to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. Please do that for us while you're here. It's free for you. It doesn't change anything for you, but it helps us a lot as we look to continue to expand our reach. Also, make sure you find us wherever you find your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen in audio format. The Pod at the Palace can be found there. I'm Curtis Wilkerson. I will be back tomorrow morning. You guys know the drill. We ride at dawn here on the Pod at the Palace. Everybody have a good day, and we'll see you then.